The contract landed on the mahogany desk with a sound like a gavel. Patricia Monroe didn't flinch. Didn't blink when Derek Whitmore, 57, club blazer pressed sharp, gold cufflinks catching afternoon light through bay windows, slid the termination notice toward her with 2 fingers, as if the paper itself might contaminate him. Effective immediately, he said. We're revoking your family membership. Full refund of this year's dues, naturally. But Meadowbrook simply isn't the right fit. Patricia's hands rested in her lap. She studied him. The man who'd been club manager for 12 years, who'd smiled at her family exactly once. The day they'd signed the membership agreement 18 months ago, back when he thought they were guests of the Caldwell family. No trembling lip. No raised voice. Just stillness. Heavier than rage. Beside her, Marcus shifted. Her husband, 6'2", former linebacker, hands that could still palm a basketball, but now drafted architectural plans. He started to speak. Patricia touched his knee once. Gentle. Final. He went quiet. I see, Patricia said softly. Derek checked his watch. Cartier. I hope you understand this isn't personal. Meadowbrook has a certain culture. Standards we've maintained since 1923. Your family is lovely, truly. But the other members have expressed concerns about fit. We simply think you'd be more comfortable elsewhere. Elsewhere. The word hung in the air like smoke. Patricia stood. Smoothed her linen dress. Cream. Tailored. Expensive in a way that didn't announce itself. When should we remove our belongings from the lockers? She asked. Derek blinked. He'd expected protest. Tears, maybe. Accusations he could dismiss as oversensitivity. End of week should be fine. Patricia nodded once. Picked up her purse. Vintage Hermes her grandmother had carried, leather soft as a secret. Thank you for your time, Mr. Whitmore. And she walked out, Marcus behind her, their daughter Simone waiting in the lobby with her tennis bag, 13 years old, and confused why Mom had asked her to step out of the meeting. Derek watched them go, smiled, returned to his office, and poured himself 2 fingers of scotch from the crystal decanter that had belonged to the club's founder. He had no idea what he'd just done. 48 hours earlier the complaint had come through the members-only portal. Anonymous, as they usually were. Subject, concerns regarding new member conduct. Derek had read it over his morning coffee, standing at his office window, overlooking the 18th hole. Perfect Kentucky bluegrass. Groomed daily. Not a dandelion in sight. Several longtime members have noticed the Monroe family's children using the pool facilities in a manner inconsistent with club standards. Excessive noise. Inappropriate music. Their presence has made other families uncomfortable. Additionally, Mrs. Monroe's habit of holding court on the veranda during Sunday brunch disrupts the atmosphere members expect. We request immediate review of their membership status. Derek had read it twice. The Monroes had joined last spring, paid the $75,000 initiation fee without blinking. Patricia was some sort of consultant, business strategy, he thought. Marcus was an architect. They lived in Briarwood, the new development where houses started at $2 million. Money wasn't the issue. It never was. The issue was that Patricia Monroe, 41, copper skin, natural hair she wore in elegant twists, laugh that carried across the veranda like music, didn't shrink, didn't apologize for existing, brought her family to Sunday brunch and let her kids be kids, cannonballing into the pool with the same joy as the Worthington twins or the Chin boy. That was the problem. She didn't know her place. Because at Meadowbrook, there was always a place. Unspoken. Maintained through decades of careful gatekeeping, polite suggestions that certain applicants might prefer clubs more suited to their lifestyle. Derek had made calls. 3 board members. Old guard. Families that had been Meadowbrook since the beginning. Handle it, Jeffrey Langford had said. Quietly. Refund the dues. Tell them we're at capacity. We're not at capacity, Derek had pointed out. Then tell them something else. You're the manager. Manage. So he drafted the termination letter. Called it mutual parting of ways. Scheduled the meeting. And when Patricia Monroe walked into his office that Tuesday afternoon, Marcus beside her, both of them calm, dignified, Patricia in that cream dress that probably cost more than Derek's mortgage payment. He felt certain of his position. Meadowbrook was a private club. They could refuse membership to anyone. For any reason. Or no reason at all. Mrs. Monroe, Mr. Monroe, thank you for coming in. They'd sat. Patricia's posture perfect. Finishing school perfect. Derek had smiled his reasonable smile. His "we're all adults here" smile. "I'm afraid we've received feedback from several members regarding concerns about compatibility." Patricia had said nothing. Meadowbrook has been a cornerstone of this community for over a century. Our membership values a certain atmosphere, decorum, and while your family has been nothing but courteous, there's a sense that perhaps the club's culture doesn't align with your lifestyle. Marcus's jaw tightened. Patricia touched his knee. "What specific behaviors are the issue?" she asked quietly. Derek shifted. "It's not about specific behaviors. It's about fit. The intangible qualities that make Meadowbrook what it is." "I see. We're prepared to offer a full refund. When should we remove our belongings?" And she left. Easy. Clean. Derek finished his scotch. By Thursday, he'd have the Hendersons approved for membership. Old money. Right schools. Right luck. Everything back to normal. The email arrived Friday morning. Derek almost deleted it. The sender was listed as PM Consulting Group, probably spam, maybe a vendor pitch. But the subject line stopped him. Meadowbrook Country Club, Ownership Documentation Review. He opened it. The message was brief. Professional. Cold. "Mr. Whitmore, please find attached documentation related to Meadowbrook Country Club's current ownership structure, as well as copies of the original 1923 charter, subsequent amendments, and the 2019 acquisition agreement. I'll be arriving Monday at 9 a.m. to discuss transition protocols and management review. Best regards, Patricia Monroe, Principal, PM Consulting Group." Derek stared at the screen. Clicked the first attachment. A legal document. 73 pages. Dated 14 months ago. Agreement of sale, Meadowbrook Country Club properties and operations. He scrolled faster. Seller, Meadowbrook Legacy Trust, Langford, Worthington, Shin Families. Buyer, PM Holdings LLC. Purchase price, $47 million. His coffee went cold. He opened the second attachment. Corporate registration, PM Holdings LLC. Managing member, Patricia Diane Monroe. The third attachment was older. A letter on Meadowbrook letterhead, addressed to prospective ownership groups. The current board seeks a buyer committed to preserving Meadowbrook's traditions while ensuring long-term financial viability. The club has operated at a loss for 6 consecutive years. Without significant capital investment, closure is imminent. Derek's hands shook. He opened his desk drawer, found the membership directory he'd printed last month, flipped to the Ms. Monroe, Patricia, and Marcus. Briarwood Lane. Joined April 2023, the same month as the ownership transfer. She hadn't joined as a member. She'd bought the entire club, and then joined anyway, as a test. His phone rang. "Jeffrey Langford. Have you seen?" "Yes." "Derek, what the hell did you do?" "You told me to handle it." "You said?" "I didn't tell you to terminate the woman who owns the goddamn club." "I didn't know. That's the point. You didn't ask." "Christ, she's been sitting on this for a year. Watching. Waiting to see how we treat her family." Derek's throat closed. "The sale was confidential," Jeffrey continued, voice jagged. "Silent ownership. She didn't want the members to know, didn't want special treatment. She just wanted to see if Meadowbrook could evolve, if the culture could change organically. Then why reveal it now? Because you forced her hand. She filed paperwork this morning. She's taking direct operational control." And Derek. A pause. Heavy. "You're fired." The line went dead. Derek sat in his office, the one with the bay windows overlooking the 18th hole, and tried to breathe. He pulled up the club's financial records, the ones only he and the board had access to. Scrolled back 18 months. There, buried in capital improvement expenses, was a line item. Facility upgrades, PM Holdings, $3.2 million. She'd funded the new pool house, the renovated tennis courts, the kitchen remodel that had saved the dining program. Every upgrade over the past year had come from her, and he'd just told her she wasn't the right fit. Monday, 9 a.m. Patricia arrived alone. No Marcus, no lawyer, just her, in a navy suit, leather portfolio under one arm. Derek was waiting in the lobby. He'd barely slept. Had drafted and deleted 17 emails over the weekend, each one trying to explain, apologize, walk back what couldn't be walked back. "Mrs. Monroe." She walked past him, headed straight for the boardroom. Inside, the entire board was assembled. Jeffrey, Margaret Worthington, David Chun, 8 others, all of them standing, uncertain, when Patricia entered. She set her portfolio on the table. "Good morning." "Patricia." Jeffrey stepped forward. We owe you an apology. What Derek did. What Derek did, she said quietly, was exactly what you designed this place to do. Screen. Exclude. Maintain. Silence. I bought Meadowbrook because my daughter loves tennis. Because my son wanted to learn golf. Because I grew up watching families like yours enjoy places like this while mine watched from outside. She opened the portfolio. Removed a bound report. I spent 14 months as a silent owner. Observing. Documenting. I have records of 17 membership applications from qualified families. Black, Latino, South Asian. Rejected with vague language about fit and culture. I have emails between board members discussing how to keep the club traditional. I have witness accounts of staff being instructed to seat certain families away from the windows. Margaret paled. I didn't want to believe it. Patricia continued. I wanted to think that if I fixed the finances, updated the facilities, gave Meadowbrook a future, the people would evolve too. She looked at each of them. I was wrong. Jeffrey cleared his throat. What do you want? New management. New membership policies. Transparent application reviews. And every family that was rejected in the past 2 years gets a second look. And if we refuse? Patricia smiled. It didn't reach her eyes. You can't refuse. I own 68%. You're minority stakeholders in a club that would have closed without my money. So here's what happens. You accept these terms, or I dissolve the charter and convert the property into a public recreational facility. No membership fees. No gatekeeping. Just open access. Margaret gasped. You wouldn't. Try me. The room went silent. David Chin spoke first. I'll second the motion. Jeffrey exhaled. All in favor. 8 hands rose. Slow. Reluctant. Carried. Patricia nodded once. Collected her portfolio. Mr. Whitmore will be replaced by week's end. HR will handle severance. She walked to the door. Paused. One more thing. Sunday brunch is now open seating. No reserved tables. No hierarchy. If that disrupts the atmosphere you expect. She smiled. Good. And she left them there. Derek cleaned out his office that afternoon. 12 years of service. Gone. He packed the scotch decanter last. Walked out through the lobby. Past members who didn't look at him. Past staff who'd already heard. In the parking lot, he saw Patricia's car. Black Tesla. Dealer plate still on. She was sitting inside. On the phone. Laughing at something. She saw him. Nodded once. He couldn't tell if it was acknowledgement or dismissal. He drove home. 6 months later, Patricia stood on the Meadowbrook veranda watching her daughter play tennis. Simone's backhand had improved. The new coach, a black woman, former collegiate champion, had worked wonders. Mrs. Monroe? Patricia turned. A young couple. South Asian. The woman held an infant against her shoulder. We just wanted to say thank you, the woman said. We applied 2 years ago. We're told there was a wait list. Then last month we got a call saying our application was approved. Patricia smiled. Welcome to Meadowbrook. Our families didn't have places like this growing up, the husband added. It means everything that our daughter will. They shook hands. The couple moved toward the pool where other families, white, black, brown, mixed, gathered under umbrellas. Kids shrieking with joy. No one policing noise levels or atmosphere. Margaret Worthington approached. She'd aged in 6 months. Harder lines around her mouth. Patricia. A word. They walked toward the rose garden. Private. I owe you an apology, Margaret said. A real one. Not the board statement we released. Patricia waited. I told myself I wasn't racist. That I judge people on merit, character. But when Derek proposed terminating your membership, I didn't object. I told myself it was about preserving tradition. She looked away. It was cowardice. And cruelty. Patricia said nothing. My granddaughter asked me last week why there weren't more families like hers at the club. She's half Korean. David's niece. I didn't have an answer that didn't make me ashamed. And now she has friends here who look like her. And I'm learning to sit with my discomfort instead of protecting it. Patricia nodded slowly. That's a start. Margaret managed a small smile. Will you stay? As owner? For now? Until I'm certain the changes hold. And then I'll fade back. Let Meadowbrook be what it should have been from the beginning. A place families build memories. All families. Margaret extended her hand. Patricia shook it. That evening, Patricia sat in her home office reviewing financial reports. Meadowbrook was profitable again. Membership applications had tripled. The diversity initiatives had attracted press. Good press. the kind that made other clubs nervous and forced them to examine their own practices. Marcus appeared in the doorway. Kids are asleep. You coming to bed? Soon. He crossed to her, kissed the top of her head. You changed that place. I just removed the people protecting its worst parts. Still counts. Patricia leaned back in her chair, looked at the framed photo on her desk. Her grandmother, the woman who'd cleaned houses in neighborhoods that wouldn't have let her join their clubs, who'd saved enough to send Patricia to private school, to college, to business school, who'd told her, when you get power, use it to open doors, not guard them. I got an email today, Patricia said, from a club in Connecticut. They're hemorrhaging members, facing bankruptcy, wondering if I'd consult on restructuring. Marcus raised an eyebrow. You thinking about it? Maybe, if they're serious about change. And if they're not, Patricia smiled. Then I'll buy them too. Sunday brunch at Meadowbrook was chaotic now. No reserved tables meant families arrived early, claimed spots, shifted around as groups grew and shrank. The noise level had definitely increased. Multiple languages, kids' laughter, the occasional shriek when someone's phone played music too loud. It was beautiful. Patricia sat with Marcus, Simone, and their son Julian, 11, who was explaining in exhaustive detail why his golf swing had improved. Mom, are you listening? Every word, baby. Across the veranda, she saw new faces. The South Asian couple with their infant. A black family with twin boys. A Latina woman and her white husband. Their teenage daughter scrolling her phone while eating pancakes. Derek Whitmore was gone. New management. A woman named Keisha Trent, hospitality background, no tolerance for discrimination, ran operations with quiet efficiency. The old guard still came. Some had resigned in protest, but most stayed, adjusting slowly to the new normal. Jeffrey Langford approached. He looked smaller than he had 6 months ago. Patricia, enjoying brunch. Always. I wanted to tell you. My grandson starts tennis lessons next week. With Coach Williams. Patricia smiled. Simone loves her. He's nervous. Only black kid in his class at school. I think this place, seeing other families who look like his, it helps. That's why it matters. Jeffrey nodded. Hesitated. I'm sorry I didn't see it before. How much harm we were doing. How much we were teaching our kids about who belongs and who doesn't. You see it now. That's what matters. He shook her hand and left. Simone tugged Patricia's sleeve. Mom, can Jasmine sleep over Friday? Jasmine chun. Yeah, we're working on a double strategy. Patricia looked at Marcus. He shrugged, smiling. Ask her parents. If they say yes, then yes. Simone squealed, pulled out her phone to text. Julian rolled his eyes. Girls are so loud. You're loud, Simone shot back. I am not. Both of you eat. Marcus pointed at their plates. Patricia watched them bicker. Watched the families around them do the same. Watched Meadowbrook be what it always could have been if fear hadn't guarded its gates. Her phone buzzed. A text from her business partner. Connecticut Club wants a call. Tomorrow at 10? Patricia typed back. Schedule it. There was work to do. More clubs. More gatekeepers who thought exclusion was tradition. But for now, she was here. With her family. At the club she'd saved by refusing to accept that, not our crowd, was an answer. Simone leaned against her shoulder. Love you, Ma. Love you too, baby. Julian kicked her under the table. Love you more. Do not. Marcus laughed. Okay, that's enough. Ice cream before we go. Yes. Both kids, in unison. They stood, gathered their things, headed toward the clubhouse where the new ice cream bar, funded by Patricia, naturally, served 16 flavors. Patricia paused at the veranda railing, looked out over Meadowbrook. The golf course green and perfect, the pool shimmering, the tennis courts filled with players of every age and color. A place that almost stayed broken, but didn't, because sometimes the person they underestimate is the one holding the deed. And that's when change stops being a request. It becomes inevitable. Patricia turned, followed her family inside, unbothered, unbroken, exactly where she belonged, where they all belonged. Finally,